Well, it's great to be back here. This is a fantastic room. It's a great night. I'd like to start by saluting the previous winners. Chief Judge DeFiore, congratulations. New York's lucky to have you. The country is. It's a great story, and we appreciate your service. I know David. David, I've had a great pleasure knowing you. I know you're a great business guy, but what maybe everybody else doesn't know is what a wonderful human you are. You're a fantastic person. Congratulations. All right, I got the pleasure of introducing our third recipient tonight, Hubert Joly. Is that like a cool name or what? You know, I'm like Doug Baker. It just kind of sits there. I want a Hubert Joly. Now, Hubert is a fellow Minnesotan. I also am headquartered in Minnesota. We have a cadre of companies there, and he's also a good friend. And I have watched Hubert over the years. So he's one of the state's most respected business leaders. You can guess by his name that he's also French, and he's also quite highly respected in his home country. In fact, before he went to business school, I have it in my notes, it must be true, that he was the top student in France. I've never been the top student in a class, much less a country. More importantly, in 2017, he was awarded the Legion of Honor, which is France's highest civilian distinction. And tonight, he's receiving the Deming Cup Award, one of the most sought after in business. So it's great to see someone so deserving recognized in this way. But let's just say, I knew Hubert back when. The recognition wasn't coming. And so let me share a little bit of that. So I first met Hubert back in 2004. He had come to lead Carlson Wagenly Travel. And this is a part of the Carlson Company's business. It was one of the 3 divisions, I believe. Maybe it was 4, I don't know. 3. We'll call it 3. But in fairly short order, he became CEO of the overall Carlson Companies, which at the time included Radisson Hotels, TGIF, and also the travel company. And he was doing quite a good job there. We all got it. Okay, the guy's risen up, he's doing a good job, he's running this business. So I was surprised, like everybody else, when Hubert left Carlson to join Best Buy in 2012. And as Terry alluded to, not the best of times. Pretty tough times. Customers came in to test products. It is, in fact, where this whole concept came of showrooming. I mean, it's great to invent a word, but maybe not that one. Customers came in to test products, and they went to Amazon and they bought them. CDs and DVDs, which is a staple as Best Buy's assortment, were obviously going down. From all accounts, employee morale was not high, it was low, and so was the stock price. So many people at that time were really writing the company off. Of companies in the middle of what they thought the digital vortex in retail was, Best Buy was in the center of it. Clearly, we knew. We were in town. I had just then soon after joined the Target board, so we were watching this from many aspects. Now, as an aside, let me just step back for a minute because this is important. A little known fact about Hubert is that he collects Winston Churchill books and believes he has every book ever written about Winston Churchill. That means he's never at a loss for a Winston Churchill quote. So when I think about Hubert's move to Best Buy, there is a great quote from Winston Churchill that comes to mind. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity, but the optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. And that's exactly what Hubert saw when nobody else did at Best Buy. And it really was a natural next step, because if you know anything about Hubert, you know his first job was putting price stickers on cans of peas and beans in a grocery store. So it was destiny, actually. But with that kind of retail experience, no wonder they wanted him to come and lead their company. Now, in the first months of the job, Hubert does what I think all good leaders do, is you figure out what's going on. If you're in the retail business, you go to the stores. He spent a week in a store. He started meeting with customers, started talking to employees. What's happening here? I need to understand what the value proposition is going to be to change this position. and this feedback helped him shape his Renew Blue transformation. So he committed Best Buy to matching online prices. So much for showrooming. He invested in the online shopping experience, and he set up the stores as mini warehouses, understanding that stores aren't an anchor, they're an advantage, and a strategic advantage, particularly against Amazon. I guess Amazon's not in New York. I read that. They're in DC. Anyway, he invested in sales associates and partnered with the world's foremost technology companies to help them showcase their technology uniquely in Best Buy. And he did the hard thing too. He took out $1.5 billion of costs to put back these investments that were going to be required to reinvent Best Buy for the current environment. 7 years later, where are we? Best Buy is thriving. So that reminds me now also to step back and tell you that you might guess English is not Hubert's native language. French is. Now you wouldn't tell by talking to Hubert, but the way he learned English is mostly from watching American movies. Now I hear he likes Batman, but he can beat anyone, so Hubert claims, at the movie quote game. So here's a famous movie quote for tonight to describe Hubert's success at Best Buy. Show me the money. What movie? Jerry Maguire. All right. Everything at Best Buy is up. Customer satisfaction, market share, revenue growth and margins, and the stock price. But beyond impressive financial results, Hubert fundamentally believes that a company does well by doing good. That leads me to another Winston quote. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Hubert's strategy for turning around Best Buy was anchored in this philosophy. He kept corporate social responsibility as one of the 5 pillars of his Renew Blue turnaround plan. It's not so obvious when you're cutting $1.5 billion in costs, but you've got to have principles and you've got to be true to them. The company operates today 60 Geek Squad Academy summer camps, 30 teen tech centers, training nearly 10,000 youth to learn essential tech skills for tech-related jobs of the modern economy. Best Buy reduced its carbon emissions over this time period by over 50% over a 2009 baseline, and has set a goal to reduce carbon emissions by 75% by 2030. Now, most of us are struggling with how do we reduce our carbon footprint by 50% by 2030. They have a very ambitious goal. They also operate the largest consumer electronics recycling program in the country. They have recycled more than 2 billion pounds of electronics. And that is the reason that Barron's named Best Buy this year the #1 most sustainable company. That is quite an accomplishment. Hats off to you and the team. So Hubert also leads in diversity and inclusion. More than half of Best Buy's board of directors are female, and over 30% are people of color. Forbes rated Best Buy #7 in the best places for women to work this last year. There's also a great story in the Star and Tribune recently, and it's really about what's next for Best Buy. In that article, Hubert was asked, and his quote was, "We're not in the business of selling TVs and computers. We're a company that's in the happiness business." Hubert's view is that our lives are becoming more dominated by technology. That is true. They're in our homes, they're in our cars, they're in our hands, they're in our offices. And we need trusted and experienced people to help us figure out how to make this work together in an integrated life. His goal, he said, was to make Best Buy into a company that's purpose-driven and fueled by human magic. It's a great term. Clearly, Hubert has been the magic behind Best Buy's transformation. The Deming Cup for Operational Excellence recognizes world leaders and practitioners who've made outstanding contributions in the area of operational excellence and who have fostered the culture of continuous improvement. There is no better recipient than Hubert Joly, who I've watched over these last 7 years. I admire what you've done. I admire you. Congratulations.